to you that have never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Hello, folks. How are you? Got a cheeky little smile on your face today. I know a lot of you have. I've been speaking to plenty of you. And there is a little glint in your eye. Could that be a silver glint, I wonder? Maybe even a golden glint. For certainly some people, it is certainly a golden glint. If you haven't seen the market prices so far today, let's have a quick check at ainsleyBullion.com.au. And, well, gold, 6,915. That's down a little bit on what I've seen it today. I have seen it over 7,000 today. Silver, the spot price currently sitting at $134.19. But if we go to the marvelous machine that tells me what's going on in America and other places, tells me that the US dollar price for an ounce of silver on the commodities market at the moment is basically $90, 89.7, 0.8, 0.9, and it has been over 90. There have been peaks nearly at $91 in America today. That isn't showing signs of slowing down anytime soon, folks. So if you think that you're hearing this bit of information for the first time now, and how did you miss the boat? You haven't missed the boat. But the window is narrowing for you to buy and make significant profits, depending on how much you want to hold this on for, hold on to this for. Silver is a generational wealth product, so it's the kind of stuff you want to invest in, not now for next week or next year. You really want to look at this as potentially a 5 to 10 year plan. Given what's going on with the markets and some of the information that's coming out about just how damaged the market is. And as we've discussed previously, this bloke does poke his head up. I'll get rid of that. This bloke does poke his head up a lot and has very good information. I was telling you about this last night, and I did mention that I got thrown off a bit. There have been a couple of stories. I only mentioned one last night. That was the Samsung story that he put out that intimated that Samsung had discovered a new form of graphene technology that would allow them to replace silver in their manufacturing process, or at least significantly reduce it. There was also something in that report about them dumping along the lines of 350 million ounces of silver that they had accumulated over the last 5 years and stockpiled because of their need for it in the manufacturing processes. Now, I've not been able to find any news at all about that, or indeed one of the other stories that he mentioned. And because I am not a great bloodhound, I put, a very good bloodhound onto the job, and he waves, works for treats. It all comes out pretty cool in the end. How are you, my very good friend, Vincenzo?
Very good, just panting like a good little puppy dog.
Be careful. There are single women out there who'll be getting all upset at seeing you do that, and I'll be knocking on your door.
Yeah, they'd have to find me first.
I know his address, ladies.
I
can be bought. Cross my palm with silver. That has a whole new meaning today, doesn't it? That has a whole
30
new
pieces,
meaning.
And that's really, really a lot of 30 pieces of silver nowadays, yeah.
My word. So, all right, we had a bit of a discussion this morning again about this Samsung thing, you and I, and we were doing a bit of research online together. What we found out is essentially absolutely the opposite to what Asian guy was saying in that report about Samsung, and that is that they have been doing investigations into graphene, but the biggest announcements that Samsung have made most recently are about new battery technology. And Vince, what does that mean?
Well, their new battery technology involves silver, not so much graphene. Graphene is not a very durable product as far as high tensile strength is concerned. So it's no good in connections or any of that sort of stuff. So effectively, if you had while it can improve connectivity, it can't be used as something that's rigid or solid enough to be able to take a plug going in and out a lot. It will wear away very quickly. So,
Right.
yeah.
So you're saying something simple like if a phone charger cable was made of this, it wouldn't last very long. Break down.
You'd have to have some other sort of, have to be melded with copper or silver, something to keep its consistency that had some sort of tensile strength.
Flexibility. Yeah, because you were saying it's very brittle in how they're working with it. But at any rate, the demand for silver goes up at Samsung. It doesn't go down.
Yeah, so, well, if what we heard about the new batteries, they're a silver-based batteries. So, yeah.
Yeah, so that leads me to believe, and I've had a lot of thought about this. Has been occupying a great deal of my time for the last 4 days, this John A.G. or Mr. Huang or whatever he's called on whatever program you happen to watch.
AI.
Yeah, Mr. AI. The information that he appears to be giving is great. Now, if this was Chinese propaganda and they were looking to bring down the Western economies, this is a great plan because this bloke has attracted a phenomenal amount of views across multiple channels in a very short piece of time. And therefore, and he makes understanding what's going on pretty understandable for people who don't follow it. So all of a sudden, if he turns around and says, oh, wow, now go and sell your silver today, there's going to be a lot of people turning up on the doors of Ainsley and other bullion dealers trying to offload silver, thinking that they are at the top of the market. Now, I'm not saying he's going to do that because not a lot, all the other information he puts out seems to be spot on the money. And one of the conversations that I had today was about whether or not he is, in fact, a white hat AI propaganda machine. What are your thoughts?
Don't know. I've only seen one of his episodes that popped across my screen, and I did like what it said. Most of it was pretty basic logic with a bit of extra information. But, you know, everything you watch nowadays, including us right now, you must take with a grain of salt, right? At the moment, that's fairly large grains of salt, as far as I'm concerned, with the bullshit that's going on in the world at the moment.
And there is a ton of that. All we try and do is interpret it as best that we can, discern from it what we can, and hopefully at least make it a little bit interesting, at times a little bit amusing, as to how we may interpret such details and bring them to you. I think that's a nice way of putting it, isn't it? So watch this space. Yeah. I think silver's going to keep going up. I was talking to some people today. They asked me for predictions. I said, well, you know, bear in mind, I have a voluminous knowledge on all this that extends maybe 2 years where I've really taken a serious interest in it. And even a serious interest, I would extend that to probably 3 months rather than 2 years, or shorten it, not extend it. So I don't claim to have all the knowledge. I certainly don't give out financial advice. But when asked today what my interpretations are, given what's happening in the market, I expect that silver is, let's talk Australian dollars for a minute. I expect that in Australian dollars, silver will go to $150 at least by the end of January, if it doesn't do it in the next 4 to 5 trading days, which will also put it not too far from the end of January. But I expect by the end of January, at least 150 Australian dollars an ounce. Now, by the end of February, because there's a lot more crap going down in the COMEX market in February when it comes to the futures market, there are calls or puts, I don't know which way it works, But the people who've been selling the fake paper on the markets have to find that silver in February. And there are 2 different dates in February where big commercial banks have to find big, large amounts of silver. And there just isn't large amounts of silver in their vaults to find. There was a bit of news put out this afternoon by John A.G., but it has been backed up in other blogs that I've seen later. I haven't watched them all this afternoon, but it appears that the US Mint has released information that says they are no longer going to be trading in silver. They have suspended silver trade while they figure out a pricing model for it. They haven't mentioned any supply problems, but this is about the first time in history something like this has ever happened, and that the supply of silver has been suspended, or the sales of silver have been suspended out of the mint. Now, that's what these 2 different sources that I have seen in the last hour or so have come out and said. I went to the US Mint site and tried to buy a American Eagle. They are very happy to take your money, but they don't have any delivery. So the site appears to still be in operation, where if the Mint had actually suspended operations, you wouldn't think they'd be selling them and saying, pay us now, you'll get it on the Never Never. So another bit of interesting information, but it now seems to be coming from a different source as well. I haven't had time to look. I think that one is Silver Slayer, who looks like a real human while he's delivering it. So that's the second source that I had pop up this afternoon. Maybe some of you have watched Silver Slayer. You might know whether or not there's much value to him or not. I personally have seen about 3 minutes of that report just to understand that he was saying pretty much the same thing, that the US Mint has suspended the sales of silver until they can figure out a pricing model that works. Now, that is financial circles speak for we don't have the silver to sell you. If you come to us and say we're going to buy this, that, and the other, we don't have enough of it to trade with you, particularly for retail sales and the kind of coins collectors, all that sort of stuff go for. They're not selling any of it. And that is because there is going to be a phenomenal call by the US military establishment for all the silver they can get their hands on. There is also going to be a phenomenal call from large financial institutions, big hedge funds, like the biggest institutions in the world are going to be calling for large amounts of silver. And then, of course, this is going to place a run on the market like we're seeing now, where people are lining up. If I'd told you 6 months ago that just after Christmas you'd be lining up to spend $135 of your money to buy an ounce of silver, you'd have roared laughing at me and told me what sort of a freaking idiot I was. And yet here we are. So don't discount the fact that many people believe this train is pretty much unstoppable at this point. It needs to find parity with gold. It is pushing gold up as well. And the mainstream media, for the first time, I've noticed, are just starting to talk about this. Now, last night I brought up a story about how they were attributing the jump in gold yesterday to Donald Trump and his announcement of an investigation into the head of the Fed, Jerome Powell. They are still pushing that rhetoric, although now they're also highlighting the fact that Trump might want to take over Greenland, might invade Greenland, that he's looking at Cuba and he's looking at Colombia. He is also potentially in a rather interesting predicament with Venezuela, given that Russia and China both have interests in that part of the world. Trump doesn't seem to give a flying two hoot about it because he's sent forces after Russian dark oil tanker fleets, picked off 3 oil tankers that had been loaded and were heading back to China, where they were going to deliver that oil, I believe, because Russia has no real need to go and get oil out of Venezuela. They produce enough of it themselves and of very good quality. But who knows, maybe a bit of it was going back there. So what Trump is doing is putting a big squeeze and trying to get a lot of cash out of people, trying to keep the American dollar in a position of power. But I think he's fighting a very, 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 very sad losing battle. And I don't think he's fighting it to win, just between you, me, and the gatepost. I think there has to be so much market manipulation. Sandy, God love you. Thank you so much. There has been so much manipulation on the price of silver and so much theft, so much hypothecation. And if you don't know what hypothecating money means, go and do a brave search on it, because Google will probably lie to you. But hypothecation is making money out of thin air. And it all works really, really well until somebody wants the physical cash, or in this case, the physical silver. And what they've been doing for years is hypothecating the silver. The CMC, which is the Canadian Metals Corporation or something like that, has had a lot to do with the regulation of the price, and so too have JP Morgan Chase. And they've had a phenomenal amount of silver in vaults, supposedly, that has been used as, if you like, the backstop to the market, to the COMEX market. So if the COMEX started to fail, they could crack those vaults open a little bit, flood the market with silver, and bring the price back down to whatever level they determined. Don't think they're able to do that anymore, and that has significant consequences, as we are seeing, for those big businesses. The media really aren't telling any of the truth yet. They're trying to spin it all off as a bit of Trump political theatre, when it is far from that. But I'm bloody sure that Trump is in it, up to his ears, in a good way, I mean. All right, let's have a look at what's this? So you're a bit behind on the show. The best con is the long con. Yeah, I do agree with that. Being accurate for a long time, and then Mr. AI gives a bit of sell. Large silver sales drives prices down. Those in the con then buy in the dip. Yeah, that's sort of what I was thinking too. Keep an eye for the next pullback, and there will be a pullback at some point in the next couple of weeks, but I don't think it's going to be much. There has been pullbacks every day for the last couple of days. They've been throwing billions at this, the banks, trying to stop silver just continuing to escalate, throwing absolute billions at it. And it's just bad money going after goods. So eventually they've got to bite the bullet, admit what's actually going on, and run with the flow rather than against it. And that's when they're in a double bind. If they sell what silver they have, the price is going to go up. If they buy all the silver they need, the price is going to go up. So I don't know how they get out of it. I honestly do not know how you get out of it. Vince has his pretty little green and red candles ready to show us. So I gather you're going to explain what your pretty little green and red candles mean.
He's cheating. He's looking on the bottom screen. So, yeah, well, pretty little candles is actually rather interesting. Let's just bring them up. And I figured out how to not accidentally pop the stage up. It's a setting inside here, and I've turned it off. So now I can have it at will. All right, so this is our 1 minute pricing. This is our 1 minute pricing at the moment. Let's go to something that's not so, well, go to a 4-hour chart. So if I'd kept my little yellow line going up there, I think we would have been doing quite nicely. But we can see over the 4-hour chart just how it's still going, and that rise is not looking like it's going to turn back. And we can see from the bottom of the chart down here, we have a lot of green. Very little sell-off, a lot of purchasing. There are some other things that I could bring up, but they'd take too long to worry about. But just so you all know, that's what it all looks like over the months.
How many months is that we're looking at there?
Well, that's from May last year through to now.
Right.
So that's the rise.
It's
Look
been
at the curve.
it's been an upward trend the whole time, but The last 6 months,
Yep.
it's really kicked.
Really, quite significantly. So,
And
and we're going to see.
you see that little. Sorry,
You're right. Carry on.
I was just going to draw people's attention to the little flashing numbers down the bottom of the screen. 90. It changes from white to green to red occasionally. That's the US dollar fee per ounce, and it's changing by the second. Today, that was going green, 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 red, 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 green, 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 red, 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 red. You could see the money that was being poured into it to try and slow or stem the flow, if you like, and it was just being gobbled up. Any silver that was thrown on the market was devoured immediately by people, retailers, both private buyers like us, but commercial interests as well. And that's what I was getting at before. When the time comes and there is a crunch and governments have to do something about the price of silver, you can be guaranteed that the government will get their silver first. The big banks will get whatever's left, and we will get access to nothing of it. They will enact new laws, just like they're doing, and we're going to talk about here very shortly, and they will be able to push them through with great haste and speed, unless we, the people, do something about these bastards, folks. And with a bit of luck, sooner rather than later. What are we looking at here?
That's the gold-silver ratio. It's down at 51.43 now.
I like seeing that. That's a very steady line as well. Somebody said to me today, when it hits 43, I'm going to go and buy gold. And I said, okay, well, do that. But I'd wait a bit. Wouldn't be surprised if it got to 30 and or less.
I wonder how far back I can go. You keep talking. I'm just going to see when the last time it got low.
Okay. So the historical side with silver dating back to the days of Yo was $15 or 15 ounces for an ounce of gold, 15 ounces of silver for an ounce of gold. And historically, it's shown that that's how silver generally balances out with gold in the long scheme of things. So if we extrapolate those figures, and my maths is nowhere near good enough, nor my knowledge of maths nowhere good enough to know how to do that. But if you turn that into today's money, I think you'd find that we're in for a reasonably interesting and enlightening wealth journey in the next 12 months. I was talking to a mate of mine today who's not in this in any way, shape, or form. I've been telling him for years, go and buy a bit of silver, and he's been in a much better position than me to go and do it. Hasn't done anything. Today, he's one of the ones that woke up and has FOMO. Oh, mate, where do I go to do this? How do I go and do it? Do you actually get to keep the silver, or do you even see it? And is it shiny? And how does it work? Knew nothing about it. And yet I've been talking to him about it for 3 years. So I might wind up taking him into Ainslie on the Gold Coast in the next few days and giving him a little bit of an education. People are starting to wake up, and they're the ones who are going to keep driving this price up, folks, because they will come in with their 5, their 10, their 15, 20, 50,000, $100,000 and say, well, look at the returns they've copped here in 2 weeks. And they're saying it's going to keep going. So quite literally, you could have the same returns again in another couple of weeks, and they could be looking at doubling their money. Yeah. All right.
Monday, the 21st of February. Monday, the 21st of February in 2011, the gold-silver ratio hit 31.6. Just so that you're aware.
Right.
So we're down around the 50s. Before that point, not very long. It was very short time indeed. I'd have to zoom right in on that one. Because I am looking at a daily chart. So basically 21st of April was down there, bounced out on the 11th of May. So it was there for about 14 days.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So,
Okay.
but that's just an interesting piece of
And the one before that will be
information.
2008.
Right. Well, I didn't
So-
see that. I hadn't gone back that far.
Yeah,
Because
no,
my
the
chart doesn't
GFC in
go back that far.
2008. That'll be the other one. But yeah, well, I would say we're probably looking at something very similar.
Well, it's the same pattern. Look at it. Drop down there.
Yeah.
Massive drop down there. Drop down there. You can see the same pattern. It's boom, 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 little rise, then down. What are we looking at here?
Yep.
Right? Down. We haven't had our little rise yet. So it's probably going to go up a bit, and then it may drop further. So it is quite feasible. Yeah. The pattern's there.
Oh, yeah. Yep, I agree. Yeah, I think gold-silver ratio definitely, very high possibility of getting below 50 in the next couple of days. So hopefully that'll keep people pretty happy with their silver investment. And like I say, plenty of time to still go in and be part of that, folks. AinsleyBullion.com.au, you can do it all online. Yes, there are certain things that you can order and they can't deliver at the moment because it's being produced. The Perth Mint is the slow point in this production process, folks. And you might ask yourself, why is the Perth Mint the slow point? It is because out of the entire Australian mint's production in Perth, only 5% of it comes to the Australian market. The rest of it is produced for the overseas market. And they have huge orders for that. We've talked about them selling gold to the Shanghai Exchange before, under contract to have that gold at a certain chemical disposition, and they returned quite a lot of bars that they'd bought a few years back because those chemical analysis that they do once the bars get to China didn't add up to the specs they required them to be, so they sent them back, and the Perth Mint redid them all and sent them back the way they should have been. So Perth Mint turns out does a lot of that, not just for that particular country, but also for Switzerland, Italy, I believe, America. We sell a lot of our gold to America as well. So the production is going out the door to some very big orders that are going straight overseas. So if the bullion train is going to derail, why Roxby Downs expanding the metal processing by 4 times? There you go. And other news out of Roxby Downs is that contracts were put up a couple of years back, but have been, I think, recently touched up a little bit. But there is a line in it. I'm not sure if Pete sent it, but I'll try and dig it out and have it for another show. There is a line in the contract that says, you will have to work at Roxby for the next X amount of years or until the war ends. So it's going to be interesting. And will there be war? Every opportunity in the Arctic, I would say, where things might kick off. Greenland is all of a sudden back on Donald Trump's radar. And I think it's for a variety of reasons, security being one of them. Well, I do too. And there's been another distraction thrown out about it, saying that there is a spaceship in the middle of Greenland that's been there thousands of years, and that it is actually a weather modification machine that produces all the cold weather in the world. It produces all the winter weather in the world, this thing. And it's, like 2 kilometers long and 3 kilometers wide and 450 meters tall, and apparently is right in the middle of Greenland. So if Donald Trump ever needed to... Yeah. Well, I think you were probably
seen the movie
Distraction. Yeah, exactly. What is it? The Ice Palace or whatever the hell where Superman goes?
Yeah, he went and found it buried in the ice in somewhere.
It was supposed supposedly at the North Pole, but I thought Santa had taken that spot. So, at any rate, I think Greenland is a distraction. You're right. America already has so much infrastructure there now anyway that for the Russians to want to take it or for the Chinese to take it, it would be a hell of a battle, of which I'm pretty confident the Greenlandians would be on the American side for. So whether they want to be fully Americanized and adopted as a protectorate or whatever, I don't think it really matters. They are by default. The Americans are not going to let anybody get in close there. They've got all sorts of military infrastructure, huge amounts, and they have had since the Second World War, since before the Second World War. So they're not going to give that up lightly, easily, or politely. But they don't need to own or run Greenland to still use all those facilities. It would just be a lot easier if they could tell the Greenlandians what to do, when to do it, and what to stay away from. So, but yeah, I think total distraction, a lot of this total distraction. So Zelensky now is a distraction. It's more like a joke on the mainstream media. Every time they wheel Zelensky out, he's got his hand out for more friggin' money or more weapons. He's throwing around more bloody rhetoric. I don't know why Putin just doesn't wipe him off the face of the earth and be done with it. But I think that too is because it's part of the theatre.
Well,
it's part of the theatre.
It's a bit of a thing. So
well,
the UK public have also. Had you heard that today? UK public have officially defeated the government's mandatory digital ID bill. Yep.
I'd like to know how they've officially done it, because the last I saw, Keir Starmer was addressing the the UK Parliament, telling everybody how demonic X is and how it needs to be banned.
Yeah, grow it back. So, no, apparently one of the ministers has come out from the government, from the various senators or lower house representatives. They had an open letter signed by 50 plus people, and Keir Starmer's come out saying he won't be enforcing the mandatory ID.
Very good.
So they've made him step down. People power.
Very good. Well, people of Victoria, you need to start exercising that yourself. Apparently today at 10:15 in Victoria, that stupid bitch that runs the state, or at least gets the paycheck for supposedly running the state, turned up at Alexandra and all the internet went off. And then when she left, all the internet came back on. When asked about it, the local politician said, we had to turn it off because of the misinformation. Misinformation?
Yeah, that was coming out of her mouth.
Yeah. Might it have been turned off so that live streamers couldn't catch the locals screaming shame at this piece of shit as it waltzed around through their town, pretending to care? Absolutely guaranteed. They didn't want any of that. I hope these people were smart enough to record it, and that we do start seeing some of that leak out over the next day or so, now that their internet has been restored, because misinformation isn't stopped by turning off the internet. People still record shit, and then when the internet gets restored, they post it. So all you are doing is making yourselves look completely puerile and, well, shifty, shady, shonky, all the S's. Shit is what it makes you look like. Shit. But anyway, get rid of that bitch, people. Get rid of her fast. Speaking of getting rid of things, combating anti-Semitism, hate and extremist bill is set to be, I was going to say debated. It won't be. It'll be forced through by the Labor government next week when they recall a number of, they recall the Parliament to talk through some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Now,
before we go there and you get me upset, right, and before we totally dive away from silver, I did an interview today with Matt from Ainsley Bullion, right, which will be shown on Coin Toss show this coming Saturday night. Went for about an hour. Some very, very good information came out of that about tokenizations, about way that you can build up your silver if you need to through valid tokens that is actually backed by Ainsley Bullion. We also talked a bit about various cryptocurrencies and the crypto desk and also the Ainsley Saver account. So all of that stuff for about an hour, full on, straight from Ainsley's Brisbane office with Matt, will be happening this Saturday night at 8 o'clock South Australian time on Coin Toss. You'll find that on the FBN channel. So now you can go and get
very good.
Go for it.
Very good. And Matt's great value. Matt's one of the guys that comes on and does the collectibles chat with me occasionally. But Matt is right into crypto, and he's probably a good reason that he's the guy who heads the crypto department, I think, at Ainsley. So I'm very interested to learn more about the tokenization side of things and how it's backed by Ainsley. So I'm looking forward to checking that out on Saturday night myself. It'll be very good indeed. All right, back to the anti-Semitism scum. Now, this is a post I think Craig Cole put up, but it's through Stand Up Now Australia. These submissions have to be put in by tomorrow. Submissions close, I think, at 4 o'clock. Oh, yep, 4 o'clock Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time tomorrow. Now, what would you be making a submission about? You're making a submission about combating anti-Semitism, hate and extremist bill, and we have put that bill or a link to it up on the Voice of Freedom website, vofhq.com. If you would like to go and have a read of that, it's 144 pages long and pretty dry viewing, but it's well worthwhile having a bit of a look and seeing just how this is going to affect you, particularly if you are a gun owner, particularly if you are just a basic Australian, because Vince and I have had a cursory glance through some of this proposed legislation, and it has a lot of things to say about groups, be that religious groups or ethnic groups or cultural groups. And one of the groups that I think most of us are pretty concerned about are Australian groups, white Australian groups.
Sorry, we don't recognise that.
Do we get the same protections?
No.
And, well, I don't think we will under these supposed new laws that they're going to bring. I don't think we'd get them now anyway, but we're certainly not going to get them under these laws. So, as I said in the blurb for the show, all Australians, all law-abiding Australians are going to be punished by this Albanese sleazy pack of criminals, all because they are inept, they are incapable of adult politics. What we are viewing here is university or high school grade politicians playing out their fantasy, running a country and fucking it inside out. And smiling while they do it, making all sorts of excuses and giving reasons why it has to be done this way. They're like gaslighting rapists. These people, gaslighting rapists. Anthony Albanese and his rape team. Because they are raping our nation blind.
There's one of our patrons here actually put up something. I'll put it up on the screen. New name for Albaloo Sleazy now is Albuquerque.
Yeah. Well, Albuquerque, not such a bad name. I think I've taken all the bikini ones out at the moment. But
oh, what a shame! That would have been a perfect dig.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't handle the heat, get out of the fire, you asshole. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I'm going to finish the show with a little elbow one tonight, which I think is probably one of the most apt, most accurate descriptions of Albanese. And so watch for that one at the end of the show tonight, folks. Now, this whole anti-Semitism crap has to be stopped. We have a number of politicians who are already sitting and have already come out and said they will not support this legislation. Canavan is one of them. Antic is another one of them. Babbitt is not supporting it. Barnaby Joyce has come out against it. I'm assuming so too has Pauline Hanson. I haven't seen anything. And it might be
Malcolm
wrong
Robertson,
to
Pauline,
assume
both.
anything. Right. So Gerard Rennick, you were saying you saw something with him today. He has some reservations about One Nation, and that will lead us into our next little piece, Vince, while I go. Dun, 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 dun. Go on.
Pauline
There
Hanson,
it is.
One Nation.
Well, there is I got New South Wales there. I should have got the national one. But so Pauline Hanson's One Nation. We were talking the other night about their huge increase in appeal, shall we say, to the Australian voters. Those voters seem in particular to have deserted the Liberal Party en masse and have headed straight to One Nation. There are many who are watching this show now that don't believe that voting is a way forward. We've not been able to vote our way out of this because the votes are controlled. The people are controlled that get in there. We are never going to be able to find our way out. And then there are those like yourself, Vince, who would argue that we have to give it a go. We've got to try doing something. All right. Well, Pauline Hanson has put herself in a position to be a very good chance at gaining second tier or first tier party preference sort of powers in the next election if they can maintain this level of support for the next couple of years, 2.5 years. Now, let's assume that they can and not only keep this level of support, but they can increase it. What would we consider to be a successful outcome if Pauline Hanson were to be elected and One Nation were to be given the honour, the privilege of leading this nation? What do we need to see in the first term of a One Nation government that would placate people like me who don't feel that there is a voting solution possible because the system is too corrupt? So what do we need? So we've got it up there on the website at vofhq.com. Just click on that One Nation banner and you'll be able to make a comment and put in what you think the KPIs, the key performance indicators, need to be. Now, I popped one in there earlier today, which basically says we need to get out of the UN, the WEF, and the WHO immediately. That's a pretty basic one to start off with. But would love to hear what you have to say about this, because if you have an input in this, then we will make sure it gets to One Nation, that they see what thoughts you have, what KPIs, be them 1, 2, 10, 20, 100. What do we need to see that will give we, the skeptical voters of Australia, bearing in mind that at the last federal election, there were nearly 5 million Australians who didn't even bother turning up for the sausage. All right?
Check that
5 million. Hey? Oh, hang on.
One Nation came out against it. Pauline Hanson has donated $2 million to the victims and the families from Bondi. Wow, where'd she get $2 million from? Just wondering. That raises a whole other set of questions.
That really does. That really does raise a whole heap of questions.
If we're going to have. Sorry, mate, go.
Here I am at the moment fighting a battle. I'm not really fighting a battle. I'm amusing myself on bored and lonely moments with a bunch of trolls on Facebook. It makes me feel bad that I've lowered myself to that level when there is genuine things we could actually be discussing for the benefit of us all. And these people are calling us shills, you know. One of them made a video. I think his name is Cameron Sewell, made a video that he put out yesterday, which I have to say looks like some glue-sniffing meth head got a hold of a microphone and a video camera and produced a vomitous piece of rap that was quite hysterical and very embarrassing. I was embarrassed for him to watch it. I was going back today to download it so I could play it to you tonight and just give you an accurate idea of the kind of people I've got to deal with on a regular basis, and Cass Smith, as it turns out, at the moment as well. But this fella has had a change of heart, and he's managed to take it off everywhere. And before I was able to take a screenshot, or not screenshot, I would have just video hashed it. But yeah, fighting with the shills. So what we want to do is make sure that One Nation isn't a shill for something else. Bearing in mind that I have a pretty good understanding of what the word shill means, and the people who tend to use it in our Facebook arenas are barely able to spell it. I think they'd probably need Siri's help. So we'll have interesting updates on that if I can be bothered going back to the chats at some stage over the next few weeks. You watched Tim Dwyer drill earlier. Interesting watch. He is always a very interesting watch, Tim Dwyer, and he will be talking about, no doubt, the great deal of work they've been putting in on a constitutional front for us going forward. There are many different fronts in this war and many different folks battling on what may ostensibly look like the same front at times, but, well, sometimes they are, sometimes they're not, let's just say. Forget Pauline, is there no voting solution? Oh, I missed that.
Oh, sorry. That one.
Well, you just turn them all off when I can't read them all. Forget Pauline, if there's no voting solution, I'm guessing, yeah. Computers can manipulate anything. That's my problem. Anyone wearing a foreign flag in Parliament is a no vote from me. Anyone wearing a foreign flag should be thrown out of the Parliament, is my opinion on that. No suitable candidate to follow my will. Yes, I agree. No suitable candidate should not automatically mean a vote for the donkeys that will go directly to the morons that are running the country. So,
but it does.
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah,
I've got to clarify. So many people are so confirmed that everything that we do with the lower house is counted by computers. It's not. It's all counted by hand. The lower house is counted by hand, people. Does that mean people can make mistakes? It sure does. But there's no computers involved. There's no scanning. There's none of that. The only time they use any sort of software is to relation to the Senate.
Impossible to believe.
It's not. It's 100% correct.
You could not have hand counted enough votes to declare the election inside 2.5 hours, as they did before Western Australia had even closed voting.
Yeah. Yes, you
cannot hand count that amount of votes in 2 hours. You can't.
Yeah, you can. You can, because they're only doing the first preference of that count. That's the trap. See, that's where people fall into it. It's only the first preference, the top layer that's counted. Later, it goes back to have a full count, and all the preferences get moved out correctly. So you need to understand how the two-party preferred system
I still
works.
don't understand how you can declare a team, 2.5 hours into an election when you haven't counted the preferences yet.
It's done with a relation to the amount of votes count versus the amount they expect to come in.
Oh, you mean there's an algorithm? There's an algorithm that you work to.
Oh yeah,
it's
an algorithm, but it's a mathematical. But it's not done by a computer. Involved. No, it's not done by a computer. No, it's not. It's simply a matter of counting. I've been through this, Carl. You saw me go through this already. All right, so it is counted. And of course, every single person that does not vote is just giving it to the party they don't want. So you reap what you will sow. Now, do I want to vote for a corporate government? No. But if I'm going to be in on the bloody board, I might as well put my vote where it counts. So that's where I stand.
Well, we've often thought that about putting our vote where it counts. In fact, that's one of the big messages that are put out every election cycle. Make your vote count, make your vote count. And yet we always seem to elect morons or controlled fools or gutless, weak individuals who allow themselves to be controlled. And I don't think the Australian people are that stupid.
We don't have enough awake people. Yes, they are.
I don't think that the Australian people are that stupid. I think we have the ability, and there are good people who've gone into that place that have been corrupted by it. And that is the institution
100%.
we fight against. That is the institution we fight against. So,
yeah.
And
so,
I believe
but
it's
at the moment,
to its core.
Are we going to put the devil in that we already know, or are we going to try a different devil this time that may just suit us better?
Well, no, the other alternative is we replace all the devils with our own. And that's
how are you going to do that? There's no way.
Well, I'm not going to tell you about that right now. I'm not going to tell you about that. Well, there are plenty of ways it can be done. But there are just that sort of thing being exercised right now in countries around the world. It won't take forever before it comes to Australia, believe me. Particularly if they keep treating the Australians the way that they are with legislation like they're about to try and force through on us.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I mean, I looked at this legislation that's here right now. Guys, you don't just get to watch one piece of legislation here. You've got to look up the Crimes Act of 95. You've got to look up other pieces of legislation. It's
where they hide the bullshit.
Sub that, add the things. It's what they do every time. If they bring out a bill, they don't amend one piece of legislation. They amend a whole heap of pieces of legislation to tie you up in knots. And this is 144 pages of changes to various pieces of legislation, besides what it's got inside itself. So it's just crap. It's beyond a joke, and we don't need it. We don't need
it. Last night I was talking about, last night and the night before, I was talking about laser beams coming from the sky around the fires in Victoria over the weekend. Now, without touching on that, I did mention that Higgins storm chasing were quoted as having photos of 3 Learjets on the ground at what I assume to be Avalon and near Geelong. They were having equipment, looked like lasers, somebody said, fitted to them. A post was made that apparently was taken down by Facebook, and I haven't been able to get a hold of Higgins storm chasing at all. But what I have been able to do is find out how the CFA works in Victoria with live tracking of fires. And what they have is a number of aircraft that fly around using LiDAR and radars and infrared cameras and all sorts of high-tech gadgetry that must be attached to an aircraft and flown over the fire grounds, over and around the fire grounds. There were 3 aircraft apparently involved in this incident with stuff seen being fitted to them. 3 Learjets, apparently. The way that the CFA's live fire tracking for their system works, and I guess I hope it's similar in other parts of Australia, is that they get a live feed from these aircraft that is compiled from 3 aircraft flying a racetrack circuit around the fire area. And so they get a 3-dimensional image that complete with hot spots and ember attacks and all this sort of stuff. And these aircraft were flying in a 600 by 250 kilometer cone, if you like, around the fire zone areas. I believe those aircraft that were taken, photos taken on the ground, were involved with the CFA. They weren't carrying any lasers or technology that was starting the fires. So put that out of your mind if that's the case. I'm not saying there aren't things flying around with lasers on them, but I don't think that they landed at Avalon Airport, just between you, me, and the gatepost.
Well, it's good to correct yourself when you're not quite right.
Yeah. Have you got anything else you would like to add tonight?
No, there's lots of things I'd like to add, but whether I should say them on air with the new legislation coming in is another thing. right?
Well,
So
you can go
Albo
and do that on your own show.
Puccini. What show? Oh yeah, my Vince Real Talk. Oh, speaking of which, I put one of them out.
Oh, Vince. Yeah. One of your talk shows.
Yeah. The Real Talk came out today with the extra part of that information for. Yeah, don't need you to do it for me. No worries. But yeah,
love to
so we put out the a little 15-minute or 30-minute video of those prices again that we did on the show the other night. So that's now up and being posted. And that went live today at 5 o'clock on YouTube or YouTube or whatever you want to call it. So go give that a like and subscribe. We're trying to get those hours up, guys. We need 1,000. Oh, no, it's more than that. I can't remember. A certain number of viewing hours, and we're halfway there. So that would be fantastic.
Keep going.
So,
all right, how do people find the
site?
site?
For those, well, FBN Media, which is fbn.online at YouTube, I believe. I had to ask you that question. Now I don't know.
Fine. Well, if you're going to promote yourself, you've got to figure out how to promote yourself.
Oh, right. How long did it take you to get our website correct?
Do you want to wave now before I cut you off, or do you not want to be cut off?
No. You have to wait now. You have to wait now because I've got to find FBN Media. It's at fbnmedia.online in YouTube. So right. YouTube / at fbnmedia.online. Right, you'll find us there. Now I probably should get off before I get into further trouble. So
it's been a wonderful pleasure. You don't have to get up immediately. I will leave you though with unless you've got nothing else to add. I want to show you something, and then we'll leave.
There was something else I had to add, but I just can't think what it is off the top of my head. All right. No, it's gone. It's flitted away. Oh yes, no, I remember. For those who live in South Australia, we will be doing a fairly comprehensive discussion with many of the political people voting in the South Australian election. So I will try and keep that as unbiased as possible, but there will be information and some reasonably hard questions that will be asked of these people, and you get a chance to see what their response is so you know who you're voting for. So that will be happening. It's going to be a South Australian-based thing, but that will happen on Real Talk with Vince. All right. Now
very good. Love your work. You know how to say goodbye.
No.
Oh, you just beat me to it. Very brother. Vince, God love him. Marvelous human being. I have a very dear friend. His name is Dwayne. Now, Dwayne is currently in central Queensland or thereabouts. He's the kind of bloke who knows how to get around the bush pretty well and knows his way around a fishing rod and certainly knows his way around a mud crab trap. Today, he sent me his size 10 thong. How nice is that? And a couple of muddies that he caught yesterday and just pulled out of the freezer for me so he could brag today. But that's the kind of thing that we're pulling out of some of the rivers in central Queensland at the moment. If you happen to be on the Gold Coast, finding a take-homeable size mud crab is almost an Olympic sport, as also is stealing the crabs out of other people's crab pots. I don't know why. Oh, no, I'm not going to get it. That's a story for another night. But at any rate, crab pots, lovely, or crabs at least, lovely thing to have this time of year. Get a bit of mud crab into your sweet chili sauce on them. Very nice indeed. Hope you enjoy your evening tonight, folks, and keep buying silver if you can. Go and grab another coin. I'm going to go and buy another coin today. There is a new coin that has just been released today. And if I put this up, it should pop up next, I think, on there. Oh, no, maybe it's the next one. It is the new Kookaburra coin. Get a load of this. It'll only come. Oh, bugger. I thought it was going to come up. There is a new Kookaburra coin that has only been released today at Ainsley Bullion. And I think it is absolutely spectacular. So you can go along and check it out on their website, ainslieybullion.com.au. That's it there. Beautiful coin. So available at Ainsley Bullion. It is not delivered to them yet. It's a Perth Mint production, but if you buy it, you'll get it marked down, and delivery will come in a week or two when they arrive from the Perth Mint. And some of those delivery dates might be extended a little because the Perth Mint, as I told you at the head of the show, working their ass off to fill all their orders. But as Australia really is only 5% of their market, they're filling the big overseas orders first, by the sounds of it. Don't know.
Just a reminder, Voice of Freedom Donkey Sanctuary. We have 254 tickets left to sell. Guys, we need to get some more money and some more hay down to support that Donkey Sanctuary. Right? 254 tickets. Your challenge, should you choose to accept it, is to get rid of those tickets over the next 2 days. Bye.
That message self-destructed in less than 5 seconds. That's very good. Thank you, Vince. He caught me just before I was about to tell you. Yeah, only $2 a ticket. Go to merch.vofhq.com. Click on this Sanctuary $750 link. And if you can spare $2, if you can spare $4, $6, $8, $10, or $20, we would love you to purchase a ticket, or 10 or 20, and we will endeavour to get Sandy and those marvellous donkeys a little bit more feed for January. This one has been dragging out a bit, and Vince and I are going to have a bit of a conversation about what we're going to do with our lottery going forward. We do have some other things planned, and maybe the lottery at this stage might change a little bit. We do have a fairly sizable chunk of silver donated by one of you that we want to put up for a prize. Every day that we hold it longer makes that piece of silver much more valuable. So we can only get to that once we get rid of this, once we end this particular lottery. So please, if you can, go to our website, merch.vofhq.com. Click on the Sanctuary 750 link and help us clean up those last 250 odd tickets. 254, I think Vince said. And we can get some hay into the donkeys' mouths. We can pay a bill. Actually, at the end of the day, we probably won't be able to pay a bill. But we will be able to feed the donkeys a bit. And we can get on with what will be a quite substantial prize next time round. So look forward to having you as part of that. Be safe on the roads, folks. The roads are starting to fill up with people who are going back to work. And, of course, there is all those fun times of the year where you've got to go and get school books organised. And do you still put contact on books, or do you just get a new cover for the iPad these days? I really don't know how it works. I do know that there'll be a lot of people on the roads, and there's a fairly sizable percentage of them that are going to be dickheads. Avoid them at all costs is my advice. See you tomorrow night.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!